Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Sweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, my loves, which can be bitter, which can be dry, which can be spicy, but at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. Hello. We are talking about Love is Blind. This is season 4. This is episode 6. Uh, I made a mistake. So let's pick up.
Zach made it. Zach made the mistake, everyone. We know who did it. It was Zach.
Yeah. So as we know, as it ended last episode, Zach and Irina called it quits. Their honeymoon, became more of a bitter moon. And they just really they really were just like called it quits and are done with each other. And before Irina left, she was like, A, I never liked you. B, I'll tell you who I did like, that Paul, honey. Carve me out a piece of that Paul. So Zach gets back and he's like, well, whatever. I'll tell you what I miss, that bliss, honey. I miss the bliss,
Yep.
So he is sitting at a wooden table. It feels like a little olden style. He's wearing like a full suit. We know he's a criminal defense attorney. He's like, is he meeting, honey, a new client? Like, why is he dressed like this? But anyway, who's he meeting? Guess who? Bliss, honey. She comes walking in that door with that like perfect eye makeup. She looks great. And yeah, this is the first time they're seeing each other, obviously, because they met in the pods like everyone else did. And they obviously didn't have like some beautiful moment where they saw each other for the first time and came running to each other and were kissing. So
Yep.
she has to walk in being like, oh my God, it's that guy in the tux. He's staring at me with the curly hair. That one. That's definitely, obviously it's him,
Yeah, the guy with the cameras around him. Yeah, she didn't get that. She didn't get that moment. And so also it's also terrible because not only did she didn't get that moment. She didn't get that moment because he didn't fucking choose her.
Mm-hmm.
And she told him.
Mm-hmm.
She warned him and said, I don't know why you would choose her, and if you choose her, then I would fully judge you. So she's walking in judging this person who didn't choose her, but at the same time wanting to see him and loving him because she thought they were going to get married. And so he then gets there and he starts talking about how awful Irina was and everything that she's done and how he messed up. And Bliss is like, I'm not in the mood to forgive. And Zach goes, she didn't even remember my birthday. All the signs were there. I don't even know why, why I went for her. And Bliss was like, you know what? I was thinking, I don't care because maybe he's not even cute. But they like each other. And
I know.
Yeah. And he asks her like quite self-consciously, do I stare too much? And she's like, no, why do I keep looking away? I know I have a problem with looking away. Like she fully thinks that it's her fault. And then he's like, no, because Irina told me that I look at people too much and I don't blink. And she's like, oh, why are we talking about that bitch again? Like, yeah, it's like, I don't want to hear about all the ways Irina was wrong because I already know she was wrong. I want to hear what happened to make you make that choice. And that's the one thing that I think Zach doesn't do. And I will talk about it in a later episode, but I really think that he should. So the next scene we have is all the rest of the couples are back in Seattle and they're figuring out a situation where they're going to cohabitate. Some people have to move from wherever it is that they live outside of Seattle, which is so odd. Why would you apply for Seattle's Love is Blind if you don't live in Seattle or you're not willing to like fully let go of your life wherever you... There's two couples like this. It's weird. So Kwame and Chelsea have a conversation about cleaning. It's not clear if this is her apartment or if this is the apartment that the show has gotten for them, because some people are in their own apartment. Like, where are Marshall and Jacqueline staying? Go ahead.
Okay, everyone has at first their own apartment. Everyone's staying in a production apartment. And then what they do is then you individually go to each of their abodes and then see how they actually live and then make a decision of how they're going to live, post. So yeah, that's why when we get to certain places, it looks really corporate and like everything's there. But then some people's houses do look corporate, like not corporate, but like new and
put
whatnot.
together.
So
that's what it is.
Put together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think when so that's they're when they're talking about how they want to live, they're in the corporate apartment talking about the dirty dishes and how they deal with that and what stays in the sink and what should be cleaned before they go to bed, and flushing toilets for obviously Chelsea likes to, if it's yellow, let it mellow, especially at night. She's like, I don't want to wake you up, I just want to like pee, like like get back in bed, I don't want to be like whoosh.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, actually, that's totally fine. I will be honest, I get that because I don't like to see other people's urine in the bathroom when I walk in. It makes me feel suddenly like everything is in fact very dirty. Like, and it's just not a clean feeling. It's like nice to walk into a bathroom you feel like it's clean, and maybe there's like like a scent in the air that isn't human urine, like I don't know, like all those things. So I get what he's saying, but this is the smart talk that they should get at having to live together.
Yeah.
That's what I would
So
say.
Paul and Micah have a conversation about Irina because Micah like talks about a comment that Irina had made to her prior to leaving the space. And so she's like, "Hey, did you notice anything? Because Irina gave me this information." And for those of you guys who are on Patreon, we have a picture of it. And Paul says, "Yes, actually there was a moment at the pool where she like grazed on my foot." And then they like call back to that moment, and she fully has decided to put his titty on her, put his foot on her titty, like just like a toe on her titty,
Yeah.
and we're like, what an interesting choice. Like, I hate feet so much that the last thing I would do is put a man's toes on my titties.
She walked by, it grazed her boobie, and then she grabbed the foot and held it close to her boobie as if she was like milking it. You know what I'm saying? Or as if it was drawing breast milk from her mother boob. Like, I mean, he knew it happened. This entire episode gets into a lot of B-roll foot stuff, and I recognized it, and I was watching with Monique and she recognized it, and I felt vindicated that it wasn't just PTSD for me or whatever, God bless. So but yeah, there was just like so much. I cannot tell you how much foot stuff there was this episode. Like, the editor of Love is Blind is Quentin Tarantino. Is Quentin
Yeah.
fucking Tarantino, like it's Quentin. I'm telling you.
Quentin
So
Quentin
yeah,
Tarantino.
yeah. It was gratuitous. Yeah, gratuitous foot. That's what we said before.
So this
So
makes Micah insecure because she knows Irina is a fucking snake. She knows who her friend is. So she
yeah.
knows why so that's why she's uncomfortable with the whole thing. She's like, I don't even know if like I can trust this situation because like she was one of my best friends, like, and I really like think that like this makes me like really unlike comfortable because like I like didn't think that you guys had a thing, like, and that like want to know if you guys really have a thing.
hmm
So yeah, it was like this is the note I wrote. Zach was doing the same thing in the pods for the things she doesn't like outside. I was caught up in the kiki. Our relationship is secure.
I don't know what the only no thing I know is our relationship. She felt like she thought was secure, but this made her feel like maybe her relationship isn't secure. I know that
Mhm.
that's what that's supposed to be, but I don't remember any of those things happening. I also don't remember the next note you said happening. So go ahead and explain that one.
Yeah, so the next note is when Marshall and Jacquelina get to their, I guess, producer space, and they sit down, and she's like, "Oh my god, I really like this place. Like, this is so nice." It was like one of those moments, like, "This is so nice. Oh my god, this is so nice." Like, she did that. And he was like,
It's so
she was
true.
like, "I gotta bring my lava lamp. Oh my god, I can't even." And he was like, "Lava lamp? That's
Yeah.
lame. What's this, 1972?" So he's already told his family about this situation, and her parents are not believing that she has done this. And I just will like, listen, I don't know what it's like to have your parents so involved in your love life to the point where they feel entitled to have an opinion. Because one, I have never shared that with my family. Two, I've never had the situation where I've had to share it with my family. And three, I'm 40. So like, I can't imagine a scenario where I would tell my parents that I had gone on this social experiment and it worked, and they wouldn't just be like, No, that's weird, but okay. It's your life. Like I just don't know what it's like. So when I hear these people have these like issues, I'm like kind of sad for them that this is like the scenario. And her parents don't believe that this is even occurring. And she's 26, so I guess they feel like you could have anything and anybody you want. Why would you do it this way?
Hmm.
So they talk, we have Tiffany and Brett, and they talk about their bathroom pet peeves. They're in the bathroom like brushing their teeth or something, and she doesn't like water on the ground. But Brett and Tiffany love each other. And Paul and Micah have a really good connection. Um, and so then we go on to Kwame and Chelsea, where they go to Chelsea's home. And Kwame has, this is the point in I think watching this show where I start to realize that Kwame is starting to pick apart Chelsea in a way that I don't appreciate. Like instead of just being like, you really love pink, or wow, like I can't, this is your aesthetic or whatever, the way he says it is like, what's up with all the pink? It's like, fool, it's obviously her favorite fucking color. So
Yeah,
like that's
yeah,
what's up
everything
with
is
it.
meant. Yeah, like there's this thing where for some girls, it brings them relief, relief to come to a home that has a certain aesthetic. Now that aesthetic changes, right? Like whether it's kind of 50s and vintage, whether it's like like high high glam Z gallery, like in that look, the mirrored tops and everything. There's so many different aesthetics that girls will want to do their whole home in because it brings them such relief and peace to come in. And like, kind of like a cutesy vintage aesthetic with like matching pink kitchen utensils and kitchen appliances isn't a crazy thing. She's a white girl, like it's I don't know what to tell you. It would be like going into, well, when we go into Kwame's house, and especially for him to say anything ever, it's absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
Kwame's house is disgusting, disgusting, disgusting. And like I honestly, like, I thought we were gonna see, like, I thought, I mean, I don't know what I was gonna saw. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was I can't
Yeah.
even. So anyway, this house is pristine, and this house has pink accessories. And listen, this is a true thing. When you share a space with anyone, you're going to have to understand that both people have to feel comfortable. And the good news is, if you are a single woman, you don't have to worry about that. The thing about is making yourself feel comfortable. But when you get in a relationship, you can still be comfortable living in your own space. And if you make a decision to share a space, then both people should be as comfortable in that space as they are within the relationship itself, which is an expression of both people, where both people feel the same amount of ease and comfort. And that might require some compromise in the beginning to find a certain, if you want to use the same word, aesthetic word that blends together. I mean, so, well, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, no. So she ends up saying that the reason why she just does that is because she was in a relationship with somebody who was super controlling, and that
Mm.
person didn't allow her to have a point of view. And so when she was able to have one, she just like went full force. And I imagine it was somebody who was like, no, everything must be stainless steel and like black or gray. And she was like, can I just have a little color? And that person was like, absolutely not, you weirdo. And so she didn't. So she ends up talking about how single people face a lot of alone time, and so she's really happy to have Kwame in her life, somebody to come home to. And she used to FaceTime her friends while she was eating in order to have a connection. And I'm just like, that is not my experience as a single person. Like as soon as I was able to have my own space, now let me tell you, decorating wise, like I'm the worst at it. And like I just really want to find like something that speaks to me that's going to go on this wall, and I don't think that I'm going to be able to like find that thing within my budget. Like I'm like, what is gonna go here? It's gonna be like black, and it's gonna be like something great, or it's gonna be like plants and gold and something, you know what I mean? But like it, I mean, it is so interesting how she like describes that, like she's finally at peace. And I'm like, there was a point in my life where I would have felt that way. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, do we have to live together? Can we live can we live in the same building?
Duplex.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, they talk about duplexes before. Duplexes just sounds like a great way to like solve
uh
a lot of problems.
I so many problems, Chris, so many problems. So I'm like, yeah, that's moving in with somebody and like merging your aesthetics is a young woman's game. It's a young woman's
But,
game. It is not my game.
yeah.
So then we go with Brett and Tiffany, and we meet Tiffany's friends, and they freaking love Tiffany. They love her and respect her choices in a way that like I'm like, I want my friends to be like that. I don't want my friends to come on a reality show and like read my lover their rights and like be bitchy and like whatever. I want them to trust me and trust my choice and to support me and not be rude to him and not make me have to defend either party. You know, just like let it be chill. And if you have something negative to say that shit to me on the side or afterwards or whatever. So they tell him that they call her Mrs. Sleeping Beauty. Like that's what they have her in their phone because this bitch will fall asleep on them in a second. 10 o'clock hits, she's like a pumpkin and she's out. So I thought that was really cute. So then we have a scene with Zach and Paul where they're talking about his time so far with Bliss and where Paul is at with Micah. And Paul says something that's like, "What are we not seeing on with Micah girl?" Because Paul is like, "I love her perspective. She like believes life is chaos and we all have to do our best." Chris, is that
No,
Micah?
no, I don't understand anyone's attraction to Micah. Like Kwame obviously like is so obsessed with her and was obsessed with her voice before he even saw what she looked like. It's like he knew what she looked like through her voice. It's so funny. But I mean, no, I don't understand Paul's attraction to Micah, nor Micah's attraction to Paul. I just feel like they're all playing a game just to get to the aisle, you know? But
Mm-hmm.
like I could see Micah leaving Paul at the aisle.
Yep.
Absolutely. So
Yep.
basically, but then the best scene happens for me, okay? Micah then is sitting at like a bar and she looks great, by the way. Like her hair is pulled back, like you can't see just like ratty extensions, like you know, like it's good lighting. And who's coming to meet her? Irina. And Irina like pulls up and she like is happy to see her queen bee mean girl. Like, hey girl, hey, you know, and Micah's like, look, it was really fucked up because I'm starting a journey with someone and you're like supposed to be my best friend and you tell me something that I like have been ruminating on this entire time, which is basically that you think that you and Paul have something or you wish that you and Paul have something or you like Paul. But let me tell you something. Go ahead, Walk.
Oh my God. Let me just say this. I love you right now and I completely appreciate you right now. And I just want to say that like
Mhm.
a lot of things were happening and like I had that feeling and I just said it and I totally get it. You're my friend. And I feel like, yeah, that was kind of fucked up. But I just love you so much for being my friend right now and telling me the truth in this moment. Like how much I love you. Go on. But I love you
It's
so
just a
much.
weird. I'll tell you what's weird, Irina. It's weird. It's because literally everyone hated you. No, everyone fucking hated you. All the girls, and they just like talk shit about you all the time. And I was like your lifeline. Like they would talk shit about me, and I'd be like, no, yes, she's hideous, but just like get past that. She's also like she knows it a little bit, so it's okay. Like I would tell them that for you, Irina, and I don't understand why you then would come at me. Thoughts?
I wasn't trying to come after you. Actually, I just was like trying to like say how I felt, but I truly feel like it was wrong and I know it was wrong, but at the moment I was trying to like say how I felt because I really did have a crush on Paul and like if I ever met him again, like I would tell him that I did not have a crush on him because I respect you so much and I love you so much and like you know, I think that he liked me too. So like I was thinking,
Let me just tell you, he never wants to see you again. No, no, and he threw up when he told me about what had happened. No, I mean, like, I'm gonna tell you right now, he's cutting off his foot. No, he's cutting that foot off. No, he can't have that foot anymore. It's gangrene. We had a whole thing. We came to his parents' house. We like told him how he's gonna be legless for the rest of his life. No, you don't understand how much he hates you. Anyway, um, you're paying the bill for this. I love the scene so much. She came for her like Mike, like it really was so good. Like I think that the 14-year-old high school girl within me, like some part of me screamed from my chest into this world. I stood up, like I couldn't have loved the scene more. Like it makes me and I'm not gonna even say it makes me like one over the other. It makes me love them both even more. Oh yeah,
oh,
like I
I
want to watch. I hate watching. I know I hate them. I love that. I hate. I love hate. I hate. I hate how much I love them. What?
I hated watching that scene, and the only reason why I kind of knew what to say to you in that moment is because I had taken notes, and then I had like a little bit of an inspiration on what Micah said. But the truth is like hearing them just like and like oh my like just talk in circles around each other and not say a complete sentence. The only thing that was complete was like he's not into you. Was that was the most clear statement that was said between the two of them. I mean, I hate it. I hate the way they speak. I can't stand it anymore. I don't want to talk about it. Anyways, so we move on to Marshall in the kitchen cooking, and I was like, what the fuck is he making? Like, let me tell you right now. I know I talk about a gold chain and melanated skin, but if that gold chain melanated skin person can cook, sign me up. So yeah, he like got up, went to the grocery store, and her lazy ass was still asleep. Now, I'm not gonna judge it. Like maybe she's one of those people who just like can't get up in the morning. But this man got up and made her a full fucking meal with like bacon. Like I'm sure he gave her options of what types of meat. He made a strawberry or some kind of berry compote to put on top, and then he like sieved,
Mhm,
a sieve,
mhm, mhm.
some some powdered sugar on top of it through a strainer. It was
Pancakes, buttermilk pancakes.
Yeah, he made it from scratch. It was real, like he did that. He did that. And she's gonna say something so just like not fancy. She didn't say Mimi's Cafe. She didn't say like some kind of downtown, like cool ass brunch spot. She said, IHOP ain't got nothing on you. And I'm so blessed. IHOP? You don't know any other place that makes better pancakes?
Yeah, I would, yeah, or even like a chef's name or something, like not Bobby Flay, but pick one. I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was sad. The pancakes looked so fluffy. I was happy with the compote. I love that he was like, "Yeah, I got up, yeah, just to get all this." And it's like, well, also you're on TV. You're gonna get to show off like what a great, you know, little, you know, house husband you are. She is into it. She wants to go and get like a second plate. She feels so blessed. This is like, I guess, a great scene for them. And
And
what?
obviously you think it's boring and hate it, so let's move on. This
Okay.
is a great
So
scene for them, she says.
I don't know. So then we get to Chelsea and Kwame. Now Chelsea and Kwame are going to meet. Chelsea's family is coming over. So she's nervous and she's like kind of being weird and like trying to like pick a fight with Kwame. Also kind of wants to like see if he's nervous, but then says that she's nervous and he is nervous. And he, I think, is trying to be like, look, of course I'm nervous. And we all know that, Chelsea is a white person and like her dad comes in. We don't know what that person is at all. We don't know anything at all. She hasn't said anything. She's very vague. And so when he's saying that, it feels like he's trying to be like, I don't know what I'm going to have to deal with, and whether she could just be like, oh, I totally understand, and let me just tell you this or that or whatever, then she immediately is sort of defensive, and she's like, well, it's not just you, I'm nervous too because it's about us. And he's like, yeah, no, I mean, of course, yeah, it's about yeah. And she's like, it's about us because it's not just you, it's like us, like how he thinks about us. And it was such a weird moment because Chelsea is very smart and she's been very direct before, but we haven't ever talked about race. And I guess we want anyone, if you're going to be with anyone, to support the person that you're with, right?
Yep.
So across the board, if you like someone, you want the person that you're with to like have empathy for them, to understand them in a certain way, to understand who they are as a person, and to like such. And yes, they are just meeting, but they are going to have an honest conversation about what his life is like and the things that he has to deal with when meeting people, so that she understands that in this moment she should be, I am assuming,
Mm-hmm.
giving him some actual guidance of if he's nervous about meeting her father, for how her father might view him as a black man.
Yep. It's like,
But
yeah, it's
it's
this
weird.
weird thing where sometimes folks are like, I don't see race, so why would that even be a subject? And it's like, if you're going to be with somebody, a person of color, you have to really kind of zone in on how they move through the space. And now some folks don't move through the space in any way. They, whatever their ethnicity is, it for whatever reason doesn't affect them the way that it affects a black person. And the black people who pretend like it doesn't affect them, to me, they're weird. They like want to live in a world where they have blinders on. They want to live in a world where they don't pay attention to that because they would like to think of the good in people. I, on the other hand, am more of a self-preservist, and like I don't want to be foolish and walk into a situation and have racism slap me upside the fucking head, literally, and then me be like, "Oh my god, I didn't even think about that." Like I always think about it and like am prepared for the shenanigans.
He does too, Alex.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, go
Yes.
on.
Great, Chris. That's what a great point. He does think of it. And so I just think it was weird that they didn't have a moment where she was like, yes. I mean, and even if she's like, well, I already told you my dad doesn't see color. Like, girl, no.
It would still be informative for him.
Yes. And
I mean, like, then he'd be like, "Oh shit, that's the kind that I,
yeah.
because there's different, like, I'm assuming that he knows. I mean, know that he knows more than I do about this stuff, but like, every bit of information or the way that she would phrase anything would be indicative.
Yes, and I think that Kwame is trying to live in a
Alex,
world is trying to live in a world where that doesn't exist. I think he's one of the people who won't acknowledge racism could and and does happen to them until it hits them over the head. Whereas Brett might be somebody who's like immediately walk into a space that's like, you know,
I will say this for Kwame. I'm going to give him also a little grace that in this moment he's trying to hint at what he's afraid of, and either he's afraid that, first of all, Chelsea is very direct. Maybe he's like, am I just going to get in a fucking conversation? Am I going to get in a whatever, like a argument about race right now? Like, who knows? Maybe there was a certain self-preservationist of like, oh shit, are we about to get into a conversation about this? And her dad's about to come over. Am I just going to let this crazy white woman just like talk because she feels like she wants to be defensive in this moment?
yeah,
And white women want to be defensive or want to like whatever. There's sometimes a moment where you're like, ooh, and not that you always should, but you can tell by their tone that they start to get pointed and faster. So there's a moment where I'm also into like, yeah, Kwame might have been like, oh shit,
yeah,
I don't have that much time left in this. Let me just pick the
my
next
battle.
moments of my life better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I agree with you. I just think that like sometimes it's hard. It's a hard road to navigate because not everybody experiences life the way you do, especially as like a black man. Like Chelsea might have tons of like black girlfriends, but it's a different thing to like date a man. And it's also weird when I feel like people, if your parents are racist. Like, if your parent, like they may have raised you with no, and maybe it's a surprise to you. Sometimes you don't know. Maybe it's like everyone's equal except for when you're dating my daughter. Like, and maybe I didn't know.
Sorry,
Maybe,
it's true.
like, or maybe they don't know the way that they truly feel until that person is in their home. And then that's when they're like, this is uncomfortable for me because I believe that blue lives matter. I don't believe that black people have a less of a harder time. They have some of a harder time, but it's getting better. And for them to complain about it means that they're not looking towards the future. They're just harping on the past. And the truth is that we're really, people can empathize, people can sympathize, but you'll never understand what it's like until it's your neck on the line. So I think that that's what we were kind of feeling, and we could absolutely be wrong, but that's at least what the producers set us up to believe. And as a black person, that's exactly what I thought he was feeling. And then we ended with the scary dad. And let me tell you right now, spoiler alert, that dad comes in and he's not scary at all.
That is a
that dad
spoiler alert. Yeah.
that dad doesn't look anything like what I expected this father to look like. I was like, oh, he looks nice. But all right, you guys, that's the end of the episode. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you in our next episode. Please watch and listen to all of our content. To watch it, you can do so on patreon.com/docusweeties. It is $10 a month. That is nothing. You've got it. You're rich. You're fabulous. Give it to us. we would enjoy it. We would enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? It helps us to create this content for you guys. And again, you could do so on patreon.com/docusweeties. But if you just want to like be our friends and follow us on social media, that helps as well. And Chris will tell you how you could do that.
Ooh, you open up Instagram and then you type in @DocuSweeties and then you follow and like all of our posts. And then you go to TikTok and you write the same thing @DocuSweeties. And then you make sure the Chinese government isn't spying on you. And then you go to Twitter and you put in one @DocuSweeties1. You put a 1 at the end of DocuSweeties, and then you can follow us on Twitter and you can like all of our tweets there. And then you can make sure that you've given this podcast, the same one you're listening to, 5 stars wherever you're listening, as well as A glowing review, honey. The kind of review that is like, is there a vitamin C serum on that review, honey? It's glowing. Is there like a very beautiful highlighter? Is it swept across the cheekbone of that review? It's glowing. Anyway, at the same time, be honest. I'm just kidding. I love you guys so much. We love you guys so much. Happy April. We're going to move on and get on with our lives. Listen, is love blind? We'll find out. But our love for you is genuine. Okay.
Bye.